It's very off-putting seeing yourself there, isn't it?
It's a little bit weird, yeah.
It's a little strange to yourself, isn't it? All right.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Right now, here in the Add-on space, we're going to have a chat to these two lovely-looking gentlemen about cash in a business and how important that is. For those of you joining online, sorry we've been a little bit late. We've just got a few things set up here. But thanks for joining us. You're joining us here at the MYOB Partner Connect event on the Gold Coast. So, I mentioned we're going to have a chat about cash and cash flow and the importance for business. Barry, can you just give us an understanding, what is cash flow in a business?
Good question, Kieran. Thanks. It's basically your ability to manage money in and out. So we find for clients that make international payments, the pain points aren't always visible. It's quite often what we find with the banks is you're paying fees ranging from $22 to $35 using the bank. The payment can be 3 days. Handling all your postings back into accounts can be tricky for some clients. So what we bring as a solution, it's an add-on for MYOB, and it allows the client to click the add-on to view better exchange rates, lower fees, almost 80% cheaper than the bank. They can click a button and it posts all the transactions back into MYOB automatically. It posts back all the currency gains, it posts back all the transfer fees, and the exchange rate. So it makes the whole process a lot simpler.
All right, so Dave, from your point of view, when we talk about cash flow for business, what do you sort of think of?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is that old adage that cash being king. We know at the end of the day, small businesses out there need to have the cash flow to ensure their businesses remain on top of all their obligations. So that ability to be able to get those payments there and then is a huge win and a huge boon for just about any small business. I don't think there'd be any exceptions to that rule. At the end of the day, cash is what makes that business run, and the idea of what we do at MYOB is to try and facilitate that and make that as easy as possible.
Yeah, do you find that if businesses don't understand the cash flow? Sorry, everyone. Lesson number one. Where's an audio guy? There he is, the audio man just arrived. Thank you. All right, that's what happens when you try and juggle two things at once. Hi, everyone who's listening now. Now I've completely lost my question, so I'm just going to ignore whatever I was saying and move on to something else. With cash flow, often there is a negative around, and you started touching on it before about the cost of moving money, but also the cost of not having it, so interest and things like that. How does international payments make it easier for people to manage the cost of money moving around?
Okay, well I suppose quite often for a client using MYOB or any other package for that matter, making international payments, the fees aren't always very transparent. So if you're a client making international payments, you will tend to accept whatever bank fees your bank apply. Plus on the other side, there'll also be receiver fees. So for example, if you make a payment to France today, the French bank will charge a receiver fee. The sending bank here will charge a receiver fee. We've seen banks here quote up to $35 for payment, and there's no visibility on the fee on the other side. So what we've developed is kind of a clearing system, so you can see exactly what the exchange rate is you're getting. You can compare it with your bank and make sure it's better, and you basically bring down that fee from 35 to as little as $5.
And do you find that it's sometimes less about the fee? I mean, the fee is a massive change,
yeah,
but it's also about the knowledge of the fees and understanding where those are?
Yeah, well, I think most clients are aware of what fees the banks are charging them, but they just don't have a very clear, visible alternative there in the spot. So I suppose that's really why we developed the add-on, because the add-on doesn't just give the benefit of lower fees and better exchange rates.
Yeah.
It makes the process easier. They can book the payment, they can post the payment back, they can reconcile all in 1 second. So.
Dave, is that true for you as well? When you're talking to the partners, I know you're representing MYOB up there, primarily about the PayDirect side of things, but do we find it's not just about closing the payment loop, but it's also understanding what are those things that are stopping cash coming in and understanding where those outliers are?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt, and from a partner perspective, that ability to then get that money coming in is going to, I wouldn't say eliminate, but certainly reduce the number of pain points that the business itself is experiencing. And the use of something like PayDirect to be able to do that, to get that payment there and then, whether it be EFTPOS, whether it be credit card, is going to go a long way to making that small business and expanding the business, giving them a chance to focus in on what they do best.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, listening to Kim earlier on talking about the pain of cash. We say cash is king, but it's not really the cash, the paper money, because that's actually quite a painful process. But the idea of the money through the bank, right?
Correct.
So for those who don't know, do you want to tell us what PayDirect actually is?
Well, PayDirect is an ability for our AccountRight customers to actually be able to seamlessly take a payment there and then once they've completed the service, whatever it might be. So they'll be able to complete the service, take the payment using a device, using a simple mobile phone or an iPad, be able to take the payment there and then, whether it be EFTPOS, whether it be credit, then having that seamlessly come straight into their account. And probably most importantly, if they're using AccountRight Live, for instance, having those invoices go directly to their file, which is speeding up that entire reconciliation process end to end, which also allows when the bank feed comes in to close that circle. All of a sudden, you're taking what potentially could be a 90-day cycle to get the payment, or sorry, to create the invoice, to get the payment, to complete the reconciliation after all of that, around into less than 24 hours, or depending on when the bank feed comes in.
Which is fantastic. Now that's great if you're here in the same place. But Barry, we know we now live in an online connected world. We're often trading internationally. How much faster is it these days to actually transfer money?
It can be done same day. Typically, it's next day. The banks will take 3 days, but as a rule of thumb, next day is a pretty good time.
Yeah, next day is fantastic for international payments. And are you finding a lot of customers are they transferring money, or are they trying to settle an invoice or pay a supplier specifically?
One of two things. So a client with multi-currency accounts might be looking to do intercompany payments. Yep. So quite often a client will have multi-currency accounts. You really only need multi-currency accounts if you're receiving payments into a foreign currency account and paying out of it. So 99% of clients will really not need a multi-currency account. They just need to ultimately make payments out.
Yeah, so it's about recognizing that payment and then bringing it back down to the accounting program in the local currency, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Do we have any questions from the floor for these two about cash? Everybody's probably busy eating their lunch, actually.
I don't have any cash in my pocket, so.
Later. I've got this great app that can take Barry, what's been the most surprising thing for you recently in the transfer space?
I guess it's really just the transfer fees that are being charged to companies in Australia. Like, we thought that the kind of bar was up at $22, but then we recently heard that it's $35. Wow. So, to be honest with you, if I was a company making a few payments every month, it wouldn't be a pain point for me. You know, my business is bringing goods in, getting the warehouse cleared, getting the stuff out to retailers, taking care of business, and payments is kind of incidental. But if you're paying a bank to do it for $35 and you can get it done for $5, it's really a no-brainer. Take a look at the solution. It's a free add-on, and if we can save you time, save you money, and it doesn't cost you anything, it's a winner. So.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. There's two great ways of helping you to get cash into your business, to send cash around between you and your suppliers or your customers. If you want to know more about TransferMate, the team are over here in the corner, and the links are below the video. And the PayDirect, anybody in one of the grey shirts around here should be able to answer your questions around PayDirect as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Go and have some lunch. And we'll be back here at 1 o'clock looking at e-commerce and selling online.